Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with my final video for this evening. I have 6 knives, 6 Kershaw discontinued knives to present to you in this video. Some of these you may have heard of if you're an old Kershaw fan. Some of you younger knife addicts may not have heard of any of these knives, but keep in mind that these knives are knives that were once part of the Kershaw lineup, and we're going back probably about 15 years on some of these knives, maybe even 20. In fact, the oldest knives that I have in this collection go all the way back to 1998. Some of you millennials probably were like, what, 6? Maybe not even born back then. Who knows? But it's always kind of fun and interesting to bring out these old classics because some people might remember them and some won't. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these videos under 20 minutes. So far, I've been fairly successful. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out a classic Kershaw knife that I just absolutely love. This knife that I'm going to bring out for you has been designed by R.J. Martin. This is called the Kershaw Groove. I have 2 of these knives. There's also a gray version, which you'll see in my next set of videos probably. So why don't we go and take a quick look at it because it is really interesting. If you take a look at the knife, what do you see on the blade? Is that crazy or what? They have these sort of ridges on it. Now keep in mind, this knife is actually still, I believe it's still part of the Kershaw lineup, the Kershaw Groove. I might be wrong, but it does not have these lines on the knife anymore. They got rid of that. It's on both sides of the knife. Then it takes some serious machining to do that work. It's also got the G10 scales over the aluminum, and it's on both sides of the knife. It's just really fantastic. As you can see, on this side of the knife, it's not even because they had to accommodate the pocket clip. So obviously if they had made it the same size, somewhere along the way, probably the G10 would crack. So they decided to go ahead and go with just kind of shortening up the back end of the G10 on that, the G10 overlay on this knife, and instead of having the pocket clip over that. But they probably could have had just a little bit of G10, maybe cover this area here, but you know, it is what it is. No one's complaining. One of the things I love about this knife is how smooth it is. This kind of reminiscent of a ZT, because this thing only runs on washers. I'm pretty sure it's not phosphor bronze. These are, you know, their budget line back then. But man, for, you know, a knife that was made in October of 07, I mean, this is the quality that these guys put out back then. It's just really amazing. You can see how smooth that is. The whole design of the knife is called the Kershaw Groove, hence all these grooves, and the knife grooves on the back part of the knife over here for the reverse grip. I mean, there's a groove thing, the groove theme running all over it, including on the blade. So I kind of love that. The pocket clip is tip up and tip down on both sides of the knife, but and only on this side of the knife can you have pocket clip. You can't put it on this side of the knife. So it's too bad for that. So there you go. So there's the Kershaw Groove. The second knife is also its twin. Looks a little bit different. This one is also called the Kershaw Groove, but they don't. The only similarities between this knife and the other one is that they both have lines on the blade. That's about it. They don't really look similar, though. They're fairly different. This one's not G10 at all. I can't remember what they call this material, but it's not G10. It's sort of like pressed fiberglass. I just can't remember what they call this material here. It kind of escapes me. The steel on both these knives are 14C28N, and again, this knife is also smooth. This has, ironically, the Ken Onion thumb studs, you know, where you could just sort of pop them open. Again, same thing. It's an R.J. Martin design. Really nice pocket clip on the back there. Manual folder. So Kershaw Groove. And this one, by the way, is not the Kershaw Groove. This one's called the Kershaw Zing. I'm sorry, the name escaped me. But yeah, it's called the Kershaw Zing. And this knife, I believe, is also still part of the Kershaw lineup. They just don't have the grooves on the blade there. But this is the original groove. If any of you guys own a Kershaw Groove, this is your first look at the original with the grooves on the knife. What's interesting about this knife is, yeah, it's 14C28N, but this might make a really expensive cheese knife, maybe. You know, be really nice to cut cheese with. But like I said, this is real. It takes some serious machining to get those lines on there. Yeah, so the Kershaw Groove and the Kershaw Zing. There you go. The next set of knives are, or this next knife here also has a twin. This is called the Kershaw Overdrive. Now, if you remember in my last video that I did, I showed you a knife called the Kershaw Energy by Lee Williams. This is the second knife that he made for Kershaw. It's called the Overdrive, and again, this knife is really different. He has these things that he does with flippers that are really interesting. Again, this knife is not a normal flipper. I'm going to show you how this works. Inside the pivot of this knife, there is a tiny wheel with teeth in it. If I can describe, it's got teeth in it. And it's a wheel. So what happens is when you're flipping open the knife, the flipper, which has teeth on it, matches up with a little tiny round wheel inside the pivot of the knife that also has teeth in it. And they match up, and they basically allow the knife to open. So there's no ball bearings in here, but it does produce a very smooth action. It's quite different than anything I've ever felt. I'd like to call it a smooth, stiff action. I know it's kind of hard to describe that, but that's what it feels like. But it's very quick, and you can feel that there's something spinning inside this knife. So it's the Kershaw Overdrive by Lee Williams, who also made the Kershaw Energy knives you saw earlier. Again, all G10 black scales. And it is also a frame lock. And actually, if you look up close, you can see the wheel inside there. You can't see the teeth, but you can certainly see the wheel. It's an interesting offering from Lee Williams, but he's very inventive. I think he's more of a designer that's inventive in the mechanics of how a knife would work, of trying to figure out different ways of making things work rather than like overall design. He seems to be somebody who's an expert in mechanics and at least how to get a knife to open and close differently, coming up with these different I guess mechanical ways of having a knife open, and this is definitely one of them. The knife is definitely one of my favorites in the entire collection, is this knife. It comes in orange also. I am dying to find someone that's got a Kershaw Overdrive in orange because I want that. I still want it. If I see it, I'm buying it. I don't care if the guy's going to charge like... I might not do it, but you never know. At the heat of the moment, you're a knife addict. You know, if someone were to say, well, you can have for $200, I probably would do it. It's just a fantastic knife to have in the collection. So on with the other one. This is the smaller version of the knife. This one does not have G10. This one actually has a material called Zytel. It came back to me. Thank you. So this material here is called Zytel, which is actually sort of the same material on the Kershaw Zing that I just showed you earlier. It's the same material. It's called Zytel. It's like a cheaper version of G10. And this is made from the same material. Again, a little opening with a little pivot wheel. The same exact knife, just in a smaller version. And the steel is not 14C28N this time. This is the only Mauve 13 knife I actually have in the collection. So... again, designed by Lee Williams, as you can see. Really great designer. Yeah. So there you go, the Kershaw Overdrive. So for my last set of knives, I'm going to bring out one. This one's really completely different. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of anything like this. I've never heard of it. And it's certainly something that they have not before or since re-released what you're about to see. So this is basically the Kershaw Cyclone. This is the big version of the knife. Kershaw Cyclone. This knife is very different than anything you may have ever seen before because this is what we call a dual action knife. This is, believe it or not, a manual folder. And if I flip it over to the back of the knife, you're going to see a little on and off switch right there, right? Take that thing and you put it on the on position. Now it becomes a spring-assisted knife. Look at that. Designed by Ken Onion, a dual-action manual folder and spring-assisted folder. All you gotta do is take this little teeny tiny wheel and put it to the off position, and now you're good to go, and you are now manual again. Interesting piece. I saw that. I had to have it. In fact, this is probably one of the first Kershaw discontinued knives that I had gotten. And this one at the time was actually easy for me to get because it was only discontinued maybe a couple of years before and everybody had them. And most of the ones that were on eBay were all beat up. And I found a guy who actually kept his in super mint condition. I was lucky enough to get it at a really good price. I think I got it at the time for like $79, which is like what it was running for at the time. So yeah, the Kershaw Cyclone. And for my last knife, we have the smaller version of the same knife. Again, it's a manual knife. This one is the one that comes in, I guess, silver version or white, gray version, which is really rare, but actually, I'm actually after this knife in the same exact color. If I see it, I'm probably going to get it. I'm sure I could probably pick it up for maybe $125 as a discontinued model. Yeah, again, this knife also has the on and off switch on it. Really great knife. So there it is as a manual knife. And then you take the wheel, the on wheel, and we turn it on. And now we are ready to go as spring assisted. So the knife has all aluminum scales, both of them. This one's the one that's in gray. Again, designed by Ken Onion. I really love that white color on it. It just really pops really well. I love it. I really do. So I'm going to take the, again, if I take the little wheel there, or the on and off switch, and then turn it off to the off position. Now it's a manual again, so a little stiff there. Hasn't been operated for a while, but yeah, the knife is just absolutely fantastic. And obviously you can see why I got it, because it's a dual action. You're never going to see that on any knife ever again. Again, running with the circular themes on this knife, it makes much more sense because it looks like a cyclone, right? So, cyclone all over the place. There you go, holes. The holes on there make it look really, really nice. So, just fantastic. And also, you know, when you open the blade, obviously, the wheel or the wheels, the circles will change color, and then it turns gray. So that's kind of neat also, if you're into the, you know, like looking at the details of a knife. So there you have it. The fourth set in my Kershaw discontinued lesson. I'm kind of hoping that you have enjoyed this little look for tonight. I've got more to come in the discontinued line. So these are a quick shot of the 6 that you just saw. So let me go ahead and go over them one more time. It's too bad I didn't do this on the other videos, but maybe I'll start doing it moving forward. So these are the Cyclones, Kershaw Cyclone knives. These are the Kershaw Overdrive knives, and then we have the Kershaw Groove, and then the Kershaw Zing. Again, as you notice, this is a twin knife collection. Every knife has a twin. I think I got all of them because I can't think of any other knives that actually have a big brother, little brother, same type of knife going. So it's kind of an interesting way to collect. If you're an anal collector like I am, you're going to look for certain things that have commonality in them. It just makes the collection much more fun, and this has made it a lot more fun for me to find something common in the collection. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off. I'll have more videos to come. We'll go over my Kershaw Discontinued collection, continue to revisit it. And I'm doing it mostly because it's for nostalgic purposes. I hardly ever pull these knives out anymore, and I just wanted to go ahead and share them with you. Keep it relevant for me as to why I have it. I mean, my channel is basically known as Omar the Kershaw Guy. How come he never shows Kershaws? All he shows are just, custom knives, which, most people may or may not have interest in. But this kind of brings me back into the production line model. Once I finish this set of videos, I've got a very special surprise for you at the end of it, and I'm kind of hoping that that surprise will come just as I'm ending these set of videos. So I'm taking a break from buying customs, obviously, because you can't afford them all day long. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy. Hope this has been a lot of fun for you. I know it's been fun for me. If you have any comments, please comment on these videos. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about this collection? Do you think this is an interesting Kershaw lineup as compared to what they're offering now? Let me know. My own opinion, I think Kershaw is moving forward into the future. Okay, these knives here were once what they thought would appeal to the public at that time, and they did for a time. I mean, somewhere out there's a group of people that actually own these Kershaw knives and never bought another one, if you want to think of it that way. Somewhere out there's a guy who thinks the Groove is the greatest knife that he's ever had. I mean, he's using it on a daily basis. It's probably all beat up by now. These are knives that were like a part of people's lives at one point. I just thought it was kind of interesting as a collection because I thought that their designs were really interesting. They were doing really interesting things with their knives at that time. I mean, in reality, whoever thought of a dual action knife, one that's a spring assist and one that's a manual folder at the same time. So you can tell that by looking at this collection, Kershaw's trying to find their footing at a time when knife collecting and the idea of knives being considered as art were still in its infancy, at least in my opinion. So those are my final thoughts on these last 4 sets that I just did for you of videos for this evening on my Kershaw Discontinued collection. As I said, there's probably going to be 4 more. And the last videos that I'm going to do on this collection, they're going to be pretty wild because you're not going to believe what Kershaw used to put out as compared to what you're seeing here. What I'm saying is that you ain't even seen nothing yet. So this is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope to see you in the next set of videos. And please leave your comments below on what you think of these series of videos. I'm kind of glad to be revisiting it and sharing it with you. Like I said, I am Omar the Kershaw Guy, so why not show some Kershaws? This is Omar the Knife Shark Guy signing off. You guys have a great evening and stay healthy. Obviously, with the coronavirus going on, oh man. It's always kind of nice to have something to do indoors, like sit here and do knife videos. So, have a good night, everybody, and God bless. See you next time.